Okay, so good afternoon. Welcome to the channel again. There's nothing good about any of this that I'm going to put out today, but hey, fuck it. Let's get into it anyway. So my first story today that I have is about the state of Indiana. Now, some of us know that there was a 10-year-old in Ohio who was raped, impregnated, and had to go to Indiana to get an abortion. So you would think that Indiana would say, hey, you know, we need to make sure that we're doing all we can to make sure that there are services for women who wish to get an abortion or just their basic health care, women's health care. We should allow that to happen and make it easier for women to obtain an abortion and or to get her women's health taken care of. This shouldn't ever be a problem. But no, this is America and everything's fucking stupid. So instead of making it easier for women to get their healthcare needs, what is their ingenious idea was to have some Christian teenager decide after visiting South Africa that, hey, maybe we should just, I don't know, I saw these boxes in South Africa, so we should have baby drop-off boxes here in America. Not to mention that you can go to any police station, any fire station, and any hospital, and probably most churches, and it's a safe haven where you can drop a child off that you feel as if you cannot raise or you don't want or whatever the case may be. That's been around for a long damn time. But now there's literally a box that you can stick a child in and leave it there until someone comes along and finds it. I find this to be ridiculous because we won't do the same thing for people who just want to, I don't know, vote. You won't let someone drop off their own ballot in a drop box so that they can participate in our electoral system in the United States, so that they can participate in this grand freaking scheme that we've got going on here. But you'll let them throw a baby in a box. Why? Because we won't allow women to have the choice to do with their bodies as they choose or see fit. That's how fucking stupid this country is. But that's not all. Second thing that pisses me off today is there's a gentleman by the name of Trent Bohita. Now this gentleman is in Arizona. And in Arizona, marijuana is legal. So this gentleman sold, I think it was maybe 2015, 2010, sold an undercover police officer marijuana while it was legal. Even if it wasn't, sold to a undercover officer. They gave him 16 years in prison for marijuana, which is legal in Arizona, and refused to give him clemency or reduce his sentence or negate his sentence, anything. Because, well, we don't know, but I can guarantee you I know why. One, because he's a black male. Now, had he been a white male who stormed the Capitol and tried to overthrow the government to install a dictator so that they could worship him, no time. But because it was marijuana, a thing that grows naturally on its own, that is legalized in many states and is a harmless plant, they gave this man 16 years and refused to commute or reduce his sentence. Not only because Doug Ducey just doesn't do that for black people, because he doesn't believe that anyone who's incarcerated should ever get out, but because, get this, the entire board who deals with clemency situations, the ones who suggest it and give it to the governor, are all made of, one, there's a Mr. Mendez, who's a former prosecutor, a Mr. Quinones, who's a former cop, a former agent for the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. The other gentleman is Mr. Johnson. He's a former detective for 21 years. And there's another guy who spent 30 years, Mr. Frenny, who spent 30 years with the Phoenix Police Department. And it's no wonder that this man is spending 16 years in prison for a legalized substance. Shocking. But hey, don't pay attention to that. Voter fraud, brown people, border crossings, something like that. But don't pay attention to the fact that this is really fucked up. That a man who is sitting in prison for 16 years can't get clemency, can't get his sentence commuted, or just thrown the fuck out because he's got the wrong skin color. There's no other reason. It's just the fact that he's got the wrong skin color. Because had he been a white male, they'd have never done this to him. He probably would have never even made it to prison. Probably would have gotten a fine and sent on his way. But for a legal substance, they've thrown this man in prison for 16 years, away from his daughter, his family. I mean, the guy was probably only trying, like everybody else, because everything's fucking expensive, to take care of his family. Now he's away from his family for 16 years for some bullshit. Legalized substance, 16 years in prison. They don't pay to be black in America. Third thing that is really, well, kind of stupid, is stupid, is Donald Trump's raid the other day. Now, this jackass got his Mar-a-Lago resort, whatever, raided yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And, man, I have never seen so many conservatives crying. They're more upset about the FBI doing their job, the same shit that they do to anyone else who's not rich and famous and powerful or was the president of the United States. The same thing they're doing to him is the same thing they do to everyone else. Probably not as brutal, because I can guarantee you if I'd have done the things that Donald Trump has been accused of, just accused of, but we know he did it. But if I was just accused of the things that he's literally done, I'd be sitting in prison until they decide to throw me in prison, because that's just the way it works. If you're rich, you're white, and you have power, you can do anything you want in this country. But hopefully Merrick Garland does his fucking job right. Hopefully we find a judge that's not a fucking moron and isn't kissing Trump's ass and sucking his dick, and actually throws him in prison like he deserves to be. Him, his kids, and his whole fucking family and his entourage. All of them need to be in prison, because there's no way that any one of us, you or I, can do what he's done and get away with it scot-free, which he most likely will, because I doubt very seriously they're going to do anything to him. Why? Because he's rich, he's white, he's got power. That's it. He ain't going nowhere. They'll make a bunch of hoop and holler about it, but ain't shit going to happen to him. If anything, they do what they always do. Look for the lowest hanging fruit and fuck with them. But nothing will happen to this jackass who has fucking literally made this country far worse than it has ever been in the entire history. Outside of legalized slavery, it's pretty fucking bad here. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me today. I do appreciate you. Stay safe, and don't forget to be the best heathens that you can be, and have a great day.